Welcome to Transformative Principal, where we interview real principals who are doing amazing things to help our students every single day. I'm your host, Jethro Jones. You can find me on Twitter at Jethro Jones. Transformative Principal, Episode 38, with Jordan Collier. Hey, I really appreciate you listening to my podcast, first of all. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, I really love it. Especially the last guest was, I don't remember his name. Sam
LeDeaux.
Right? Yeah, I mean, he was solid. He said about 3 or 4 things that was exactly what I needed, like right now. So it was just one of those perfect timing things. But yeah, man,
That's
loving
awesome.
the podcast.
That makes me feel so good because I'm learning a ton from this and I'm sharing it in the hopes that other people can learn from it as well. Why don't you start out by telling us your name, who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing?
Sure. My name's Jordan Collier. I'm the secondary principal at a private Christian high school, actually 7 through 12 campus in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Awesome. And is this your how many years have you been there?
This is my 4th year at the school. I was 2 years I spent in the classroom. Last year I was the assistant principal. This year I am the secondary principal.
Okay, cool. Great. So tell me what it's like being the principal of a Christian secondary school.
It's a lot of fun. I'll tell you that. We have a rich history and there's a lot of tradition. And so it took me about 3 years to kind of figure out what was going on. And now I'm the secondary principal. I'm trying to figure it all out again.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of fun. We have great kids, we have great faculty, very supportive parents, and some may say overly supportive, but I encourage them to be up here as often as possible.
Mm-hmm. And why do you encourage them to be up there as often as possible?
I love developing relationships with parents. I mean, in the end, we should all have the same thing, same goal in common, and that's to do what's best for their kid. And so the best way to do that is just to get to know them. And it really just kind of, anytime something negative happens or there's some type of conflict, having that relationship, I know has been extremely helpful to me to kind of soften things and to be able to come at it, side by side rather than maybe an adversarial position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's really important also. So as the principal of a Christian school, you have a different approach to how to deal with things. Tell me about, did you go to a Christian school first as a student?
I did not. And in fact, My background is all public school. And my first 8 years of teaching were in a public school. And so this is a new experience for me, but I really enjoy it.
Good. So talk to me about how it's different being at a Christian school than at a public school.
Well, one, we're relatively small. We have about almost 400 students on our campus. So, class sizes are somewhere between the 60 to, a little bit more range. We have chapel every day, which is pretty neat that we have all of our 7th through 12th graders get together every day after second period. We meet in the auditorium. That's just something I never experienced at a public school, is that every single day we're all together, as one big student body. We have a time of chapel, like chapel devotional, maybe a guest speaker, maybe some type of special program. It's a time that we do announcements, and so we kind of are all together. It's a time we recognize student accomplishments. It's a time for community building. So I wouldn't trade that for anything. That's my favorite part of my day, is going to chapel and just the excitement in the room every single day.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. How does that relate with issues with like student discipline and things like that? How do you deal with that? That's different than how you would have as a public school teacher.
For the most part, I mean, we have discipline issues, but they're so minor, and it's funny because, I'll hear, a teacher or two, really complaining about some of the discipline issues. And when it's all said and done, it's because a student isn't in dress code,
Mm-hmm.
or a student was chewing gum in class. And so usually it's a pretty minor thing. Now we have our occasional discipline problems, but it's just really neat to be able to approach discipline as correctional, and I always tell students anytime I discipline them that I love them, and this just comes with the territory, and we're going to get through this, and we're in it together, and use a lot of plural pronouns because it's just we're in this together, and we're trying to figure it out as we go. And I'm not perfect, and none of our teachers are, and so we're all just trying to learn and grow and do the best we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. So part of the difference, I'm sure, is that it's a private school and people most likely want to be there more, and so because they want to be there, they have less issues with the rules and things like that. So that's probably part of it, I'm sure. But is there some other part of it that makes it so that you don't have as many discipline problems?
Sure. Relationships. Our teachers and faculty they are just amazing at developing relationships with kids. We all of our students have a Bible class every day, as part of their schedule. And so a lot of times if there's an issue that comes up, you can use that Bible time to kind of look at it from a Christian worldview, kind of whatever the issue is. And, there, we just, I would say relationships are our number one. That would be our number one deterrent for any type of discipline. Uh, Special place, man. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I think we could all agree that relationships at any school, at any level, is what really makes the difference in our education. So, tell me what you're most excited about. What's going on at your school right now that you just are super stoked about?
Man, I'm really excited about telling our story, and that's something that last year's well, that was kind of one of my goals, was to really, uh, push out our story to everyone, just kind of let people know what's going on. We use social media like crazy. We have a brand new website that's just out of this world, and we I post on Twitter as much as I can, our Facebook, parent Facebook. Uh, but I'm just really excited about having the opportunity to tell our story, and b to be a part of it. And I remind our students every single day that they are part of the story that we're building. We talk a lot about our history, and we also talk a lot about where we are today and where we want to be. And I think the kids are excited about being part of that narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I saw a tweet on your timeline about you saying something to the CAC student section about calling them out on saying something that wasn't appropriate, and you did that in a very professional way and a neat experience where students were trying to tell a story, and you stopped them and said, "This isn't the right way to do it. Let's have a talk." And obviously, that talk wasn't on social media, but tell me a little bit about that experience or one like it.
Yeah, in fact, the what I was most impressed about was that was over Labor Day weekend, and I went actually drove a bus to pick up some students who were at a retreat for the summer, or for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, they'd been at this retreat for 3 days. I was just the bus driver, just picking them up, just to be nice. And two seniors from our school happened to be there, and they said, "Mr. Collier, I need to talk to you right away." I said, "Okay, what's going on?" And they showed me, this tweet that somebody had sent out, and it wasn't good. Like it wasn't good.
Right.
And I wasn't happy about it. And I said, "Well, I'm going to address this. As you know who did it?" And they said, "No." And they said, "But we've already told them we didn't want it." So here we had two senior leaders who used social media to tell this, whoever it was, just stop, don't do that. It's not cool. And then several students favorited their tweets on, "This isn't cool. We don't want to do this." And so our student body took the lead on it, or our student leaders did. So I just sent a tweet because I didn't know who it was. And I just said, "Hey, we don't want to do this. This needs to come down." And and I said, you need to please follow me for a DM, so I could direct message them and we could have a conversation about it.
Mhm.
I never found out who did it. 3 days later, the next tweet that account published just said, "Hey, we're really sorry about this. We took it too far. We're going to delete the account." So I don't know who did it. No clue. Uh, but hey, our students and everybody else kind of jumped on board to say this isn't the story we want told. And I
Mhm.
thought that was really telling of our leadership here, not from me, but from our students.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's does it bother you that you don't know who posted that you weren't able to get and find out and provide a consequence for them?
No, not really, to be honest. I think, I think that the positive peer pressure around us and the leadership just kind of set the tone on that. I have an idea who did it, and if it were to have continued, we would have looked at a different way to kind of find out who was doing it. But I was just really impressed with the maturity of whoever the individual was to just, I made a mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and delete it. I
Mm-hmm.
apologize. So
Yeah, I think that's really awesome, and I think that it's really awesome that um, the students brought it to your attention. They had worked on dealing with it first, so they didn't feel like they couldn't say anything, and then a bunch of other students got on their bandwagon and said we don't like this either. That's really powerful. How does what you do each day encourage students to make those kinds of choices where they can stand up to that kind of situation?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't I don't know if it's anything I did. We just have good kids. I don't know how else to say that. We try to put our kids in leadership positions, and we try to promote the good things they're doing. And our students, they uh, look up to each other and they lead each other. And I think the one thing that I do is I'm just really visible. I feel like I have a really good relationship with our students. I'm in their classroom. I'm in classrooms all day, every day. That's one of my goals is just to constantly be out and be seen. And because I really like it. It's fun going in classrooms and seeing teachers do some pretty amazing things. It's fun learning alongside kids, and it also kind of prevents a lot of the things that could happen, and it also helps me build relationships with kids. So they feel comfortable enough to come tell me some things that they've seen happen. Um, so, but it all comes down to we just have really good kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As most good leaders, you're pretty humble and not taking any credit for the awesome things that you do. So I'm going to try to work on you because we're trying to teach other principals the way they can set that up at their school, even if they don't have kids that they see as awesome, which could be part of the problem. But so, what are some of the things that you've done at the school that you feel like have pushed the school forward in a positive direction?
One of the things that we talk a lot about at our school is being mission minded, and something that kind of came together, and I just kind of helped organize it. But we every year we do a thing called Access Gators, which is there's a special needs school in the Little Rock area, and as part of their training for the Special Olympics, they come and use our track, and they have usually about a week before their Special Olympics, the event, and so our students, we have a program here called Mustang Missions, and it's a organization at our school, a club that any student can join. And part of Mustang Missions is they go out and do service projects. So one of the Mustang Missions service projects is Access Gators Day. Our students adopt one of the Access Gators. They form teams of like 10 to 15 of our students. They dress up in the school, purple and green, which is those the Access colors. They adopt a kid, they cheer for that kid, they make signs, they go crazy, and they just make it as special as possible for that student. Well, last year we decided instead of making it just a Mustang Missions event, we made it a whole school event. And so we didn't have class that day. We spent the morning Access Gators. We had 400 students, packed the stands, dressed in purple and green, chanting, going crazy for like 3 hours. I mean, there were parents crying. It was the news showed up. It was an incredible day. And then, right when Access Gators ended, our students grabbed lunch, jumped on buses, and they went across Little Rock and did service projects for the rest of the day. And it was our day of service, and so it was the most chaotic day of the whole entire school year, but it was the best day of the school year by far. In fact, I have a giant poster of it hanging in my room, in my office, to just remind me every day, like that's what we're here to do, and that's to be mission minded and to serve our community and go to school at the same time.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. That's I'm sure even without the news showing up, it would have been just as meaningful. But that sometimes helps other people who may not see how powerful it is see that it is a really powerful thing, and that's an awesome example.
Yeah, we have a video on our website. We have a YouTube channel for our school, and we have a video. It's just called All Access, and it's the Access Gators, and it's like a 2-minute little video showing, just showing what we did that day. And what was really neat is we had a parent or some parents come in over the summer and to enroll their student. And during the admissions process, they were asked, "Well, how did you hear about our school? Do you know anybody here?" They said, "We don't know anybody at your school, but we saw that video on what you guys did at Access Gators, and we want our kid to be part of a school that does that kind of stuff." And I just think that's a powerful story. It's just, I mean, that in the end, that's what it's all about. It's teaching our kids to love each other, to serve others, and to be there for each other.
Right. And then to attract other people to the things that you're doing so that they want to be a part of that. I mean, for a parent to come in and say, "I don't know anything about you guys, but I do know I want to be a part of it," that's pretty powerful. And that's going to be a strong ally for whatever else you're doing the rest of the time.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for downloading and listening to this podcast. Please subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher, and please feel free to give us a rating on Stitcher Radio or on iTunes so that we can help spread the word about how much we're learning in this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You can find me on Twitter at Jethro Jones.